Hello and welcome back to the channel. Monica and I are heading off on a 3-day holiday. We've travelled 4.5 hours by road from Vilnius and we are now here. If I get you to pan over there, Monica, what you can see is a very thin strip of water, and the other side of that thin strip of water is land. So this is the Curonian Lagoon, this thin strip of water. The other side of it is Lithuania still, and one of the Lithuanians' most popular holiday spots, the seaside resort of Nida, or of Nida, which is right there. Now what makes it so interesting is that you can't get to this Curonian Spit by land. It's not connected to mainland Lithuania by land. Up to a certain point, Lithuania owns one half, roughly speaking, of the Curonian Spit. The other half is owned by the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad, so it's a very interesting place to be. So we've had to pay 18 euros to get onto one of these small little ferries, and one of them's just crossing over there now. I'm sure it can't take any more than 10 minutes or so. We're going to have to wait for that to go over to that side and I think come back to this side, and then we're hopping on, and then we've got 3 days on this funny, tiny 98 kilometre long spit of land. Cannot wait. Apparently there are beautiful sand dunes, there are great beaches, and it's a really, really nice place to spend your summer holidays, and the weather is glorious. This shows it very well. So on the map here you can see Lithuania here, north is pointing to the right hand side, and if I zoom in a bit more, we're in Klaipeda at the moment, you can see here just a very long strip all the way along, and Kaliningrad border is right here, that little line there. So we're going to where the flag is, and if I zoom out a bit you can see how thin that funny little strip of land is. Cannot wait to see what this looks like. And this of course is the Curonian Lagoon here, this body of water that's separated by this extremely thin stretch of land. And that's the border just down there between Lithuania and Kaliningrad.
Through the wind I give in. I'm storming, breaking like the tide. Every time a bit dizzy, I close my eyes and feel the fizzy. I'm standing waiting, patient.
So we paid £18 for it was probably about a 5-minute ferry ride. We've been driving now on the Curonian Spit for about 10 kilometres, and we've just got to this next pay point, which looks like it's a pay point for non-residents. £5 for motorbike, 5 euros for motorbike, 30 euros for car. I was expecting possibly 5 euros or something, because I did know there was a fee. 30 euros.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's not cheap to come to Nida. I see why this is the premium location for Lithuanians to come, because not cheap at all. Interesting. Well, it looks really nice and it looks clean, but it should be clean for the money.
Mystery of the unknown, come to me.
Welcome to our apartment for the next 2 nights. This is absolutely bang in the heart of Nida, and thing I didn't realise or appreciate, it is packed. We're peak season now, 1st of August, and just you see people, neighbours left and right, all pouring in at the exact same time. This is £130 per night, so we paid £260 with all of the Airbnb fees included. Small kitchenette there, everything. I expected nothing less at all from this place because Nida looks like a really high-end place, and this is finished to the highest possible standard. Storage, TV, Wi-Fi, little table area, sofa, really nice little space with a proper bedroom, storage, and I won't squeeze in too much, Monica. Have a look at that. Really nicely appointed bathroom with, and we need that. I'm so glad. Washing machine as well. We're 30-second walk to the beach that way, all of the restaurants and everything, so we'll unpack and then let's go grab a bite to eat. But first impressions, I've got over the 30 euros that you have to pay. That's fine, because everything is stunning.
Yeah, it's worth it.
It really is, isn't
Yes.
it? It looks absolutely glorious. I can't wait to get out there. We need to find somewhere to park the car. We'll rent some bicycles tomorrow, and we're going to do just pure bicycle exploring, going for coffees, enjoying the scenery. I'll see if I'm brave enough for a swim. Cannot wait.
Staying at home, turn off the phone, I will listen to you. You lay in the sheets, you hold on to me like I'm already gone.
We weren't going to film this evening. This is our first evening in Nida, but it's such a stunning evening. Well, almost night. I think it's about 9:40 now. Wow. We just walked for half an hour from our dinner spot to here, which is the Baltic coast. So that's the Baltic Sea there. And it's white sand and beautiful colour sea. As far as the eye can see, there are people stretched down on both ends. Stunning, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm blown away. And 9:40 p.m, there are still people swimming.
Whisper your words like secrets written in an old moleskin. And look up above, the sunlight seems like it is gonna break in. And something ain't right. Yeah, something ain't right. Oh, something ain't right. Something ain't right.
2 days later. Yesterday was Monica's birthday,
Yes.
so we ended up spending almost every hour stopping and having a coffee or a fairly big meal. I'm proud of this. I went for the first time ever in my life a swim in the Baltic Sea.
And how was it?
After the first 5 to 8 seconds of not being able to breathe, it was actually bearable, and I stayed in somehow for about 20 minutes. The beach was packed, the weather was glorious, it was stunning.
We also played a little bit of badminton,
Yeah,
and I will include a little video here just to show you how great Freddie was.
we actually had to, well, Monica ended up forcing us to stop playing because it was embarrassing, because I could not hit the shuttlecock. I used to fancy myself as a good tennis player. Somehow I've got zero hand-eye coordination. It was embarrassing. So after about 2 minutes of me trying to hit it, we just ended up heading off and leaving it there. But we've just checked out of our accommodation. It's about 1 in the afternoon now. We're about to head back to Vilnius. But before we do, the one place we haven't properly explored in our 3 days here is the final bit of Lithuanian land before you get to the Russian exclave of Kaliningrad, and that is the huge expanse of sand dunes. So we're going to have a coffee here and then head off there for the final thing that we do.
What, to the Russian border?
Well, Yeah.
What is so interesting?
I don't know what is my fascination with this Russian border. I just find it so interesting.
We went there 6 years ago with your parents.
Yeah, I don't know why my parents find it interesting as well. I think I may be the only one there. Okay, let's forget about the Russian border, but let's just go and see the sand dunes.
Yeah, okay.
Deal?
Yeah, deal.
Okay, we won't go on any ridiculous excursion. We'll just go and see the sand dunes.
Yeah.
And yeah, bask in the sun for the last 2 hours before heading back. It's been every single second of our time here. It's been stunningly good weather. While Monica's in one of the shops, I will give you a little tour of the heart of Nida. So Nida is the furthest point along on the Lithuanian territory along the Curonian Spit. I think it's got a population of around about 2,300, 2,400. It's made up of wooden houses, but interestingly here, almost no asbestos roofs. They're all tiled roofs here. So it is slightly different from mainland Lithuania. It is immaculate everywhere. Yeah, you have to pay 30 euros, but I haven't seen one bit of litter anywhere. It feels a bit like, the best way I can describe it here is, if you're British, think of centre parks or somewhere like that, where every area has been beautifully landscaped. The cycle paths are everywhere. Everywhere's just beautifully pruned and kept. It's just a place that's been made for quality of life. And I think the reason you have to pay the 30 euros when you get here, yes, it's a money generator, of course, but they want to make it as anti-car as possible. And I mean that in a good way, because you'll see the streets are almost completely empty. Parking's extremely difficult. We've had to park 20 minutes from our apartment. And that means that it forces you to cycle everywhere, which is brilliant for that really nice laid-back vibe. You know, you see just 5 and 6 year olds happily cycling around by themselves. It completely changes the dynamic of the whole town, really. It's a very, very relaxing place to be. So I'll flip the camera because I want to show you a few of the traditional houses here, because there's a beautiful street just ahead of me. So this is one of the streets just off the centre of Nida, and you can see the wood-built buildings with red tiles, and a lot of them have these blue accents, but all of them beautifully kept. Oh, look at this one. So this is, wow, okay, a stunning house with the blue and white accents there, and this is that's a special sight. The Bentley Continental in gold. Wow, and that is so gigantic, it barely fits in. Oh, that's a special sight. Bentleys are hugely popular here in Nida. A lot of people have them. You can see here, no on-street parking at all, anywhere in Nida. The streets are all completely empty, so it's a nightmare if you don't have parking with your property like we don't. But for everyone else, it just makes everything more pleasant to be around, to walk around. You see one of the other houses there, again in the exact same style. And these will pretty much, I think, all be rental properties. I think what happens here is people who actually live here full time, they actually, for example, may all move into one bedroom of the house, one outbuilding of the house, and then rent them out for holiday makers for the summer months, because they're such a good money spinner, these properties. Oh, look at that. Even a BMW R9T there. What Nida feels like is, if you imagine you had the Sims or some kind of game on your computer where you can create your ideal town, everything's perfect. It feels like one of those. It feels like a town that's been made to be as pure and as perfect as possible. It feels like crime doesn't exist here at all. You don't have any traffic, any exhaust fumes or anything like that. Everything feels as perfect and immaculate as you could ever possibly imagine. Everything from the countryside to the little towns, the built-up areas, it's all perfect. I've just seen it. There, right ahead of me, are the sand dunes heading off all the way in the distance, right the way around to the horizon. So I'll go back and get Monica, and we'll aim to start from the beginning, which I think is in about 300 meters from here. We've just made it to the start of the sand dunes, but there would probably be no Nida left at all if it weren't for human interaction, because in about the 18th century there was a huge amount of deforestation and erosion from the sea started washing Nida and the Curonian Spit away. So from the 19th century onwards there's been very, very aggressive work to protect the Curonian Spit and make sure it doesn't disappear. And one of those is to plant gigantic amounts of trees. So 70% of the Curonian Spit is forest, and that's to protect it from erosion from the ocean, to make sure that the land is solid and won't get washed away. This is where we're heading though. I mean, if you would see it, you just wouldn't believe it's Lithuania. You would never associate Lithuania with a kind of landscape like that, but that's where we're heading, the sand dunes just across there, and probably about a 30-minute walk directly that way is the border with Kaliningrad. We won't make it that far, but we will definitely get to the sand dunes over there. This is spectacular. Sand dunes leading out onto the Curonian lagoon there, and on this side you've got a huge expanse of forest on the Baltic Sea side. Okay, so just in the distance, the line of trees there, that is pretty much the separation between Kaliningrad, the Russian exclave, and Lithuania. An interesting fact, Kaliningrad used to be called Königsberg, and it was German up until the Soviets took it in World War II in 1945. And there aren't many official accounts. It's incredibly difficult to find confirmation, but down here, there was somewhere known as Death Valley, and apparently that's where the Germans held the French prisoners of war in retaliation for the French making prisoner of war camps in Africa, where they had German prisoners of war. So down there were a whole load of French prisoners of war. Among other things, they were used to reforest parts of the Curonian Spit. One other fun thing to know. This spit here of land was once the main postal route between Paris in that direction and St. Petersburg in that direction. Fascinating place. Well, it may not be the easiest place to get to because you need to get a ferry here, but if you can make it over, it is a stunning place to spend a few days. Thanks so much, everyone. for coming along. Please do give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next one.